What's happening, everybody? Matt here, but you can call me Matub, and welcome to another late night edition of Hottest Take of the Week, the show where I look at dumb stuff on the internet and we talk about it while I try not to wake up my sleeping wife and daughter. Last week, the Packers lost to the Lions in what was a pretty rough game, if we're honest. Mason Crosby missed 4 field goals and an extra point. Aaron Rodgers didn't look very good for the first half, and Aaron Jones was nowhere to be found. So let's talk about that game a little bit. First, I would like to talk about Kenny Golladay, aka Babytron. Kenny Golladay absolutely sunned haha Clinton Dix. He just completely destroyed the dude. Then mentioned something about it on Instagram where haha responded with, "Bih, I'm gon' chop yo ass next time, long ass dinosaur wings." Then some exclamation point emojis, a middle finger emoji, and a devil emoji. Haha has actually been stiff-armed by Kenny more than once. So maybe instead of talking crap on Instagram, haha should learn how to tackle. In a later interview, haha mentions that Kenny has long dinosaur arms, which I mentioned on Twitter that there really aren't a lot of dinosaurs known for having long arms. While some do technically have long arms in comparison to humans, they don't have long arms in comparison to their frame, which is what is implied by haha's insult. So, as I just said, maybe instead of talking about dinosaurs, haha should study tackling. Speaking of studying, let's look at everyone's favorite internet doctor, Dr. David Chow. David posted a picture of Aaron Rodgers saying that it was evidence of re-aggravation to the MCL of his left knee. Dr. Chow is now diagnosing people based on still frames. It's worth noting that Dr. Chow is also sued for negligent treatment of Junior Seau. So, take anything he does with a grain of salt. It wouldn't be Hottest Take of the Week if I didn't talk about Ryan Wood. Ryan Wood said that Mike Pettin has never finished outside top 10 in total defense as a defensive coordinator, and the Packers are currently 4th. He interjects top 10 in a very poor ranking system. He wants total defense to be calculated with a formula like passer rating, an interesting thought, especially from him. Well, Ryan, Mike Pettin just retroactively invented DVOA. That already exists, so I don't know, maybe we should Google it. This week, former second-round pick Josh Jones was very vocal about his lack of playing time, and Mike McCarthy responded with,
"I like the fact that Josh Jones is pissed off that he's not playing, because if he wasn't, then I'd be concerned. So the fact that he's hungry and he wants to get out there, I think that shows you something about him. But there's more to it than that." Don't cut out my answer. Make sure you use the whole thing there. Don't be splitting that up now.
Well, you heard what he said. Don't cut up his answer to make it sound different.
"I like the fact that Josh Jones is not playing, because if he was, then I'd be concerned."
Oops. Well, it wouldn't be Hottest Take of the Week without bringing up the TJ Watt tracker. TJ Watt played lights out and won AFC Player of the Week, while Kevin King gave up a touchdown and cut his chin open. Didn't look very good for Kevin King this week, and last week I went against my better judgment and got way too excited when TJ Watt and Kyler Fackrell had the same amount of sacks. It goes against the narrative that I've been pushing, and that it is much too early to judge, etc., etc. And I absolutely have egg on my face this week because TJ Watt played lights out. Now, with that said, TJ Watt has disappeared for weeks at a time, and the people who are in my mentions saying how great he did this week also disappear for weeks at a time. You're making my point for me. It's still too early to judge. I know I went off last week, but I'm going to die in this hill. Maybe TJ Watt will end up being the better player, but as of right now, we don't know. One last point about TJ Watt, he was fined for a low hit on a quarterback this week. Kevin King has not, so do you really want the dirty player on your team? I'm sorry, I can't keep a straight face. That fine was awful, just terrible. As my recording software dies a slow, painful death and continues to drop frames, I have one last thing to note. This week, Aaron Rodgers played poorly for the first half. People don't want to admit it, but there's a great thread on Twitter. My friend Andy, aka Scotty Sports, has a whole bunch of GIFs as to everything Aaron Rodgers did wrong, just missing open receivers, bailing on reads, just having no pocket presence, no awareness. He lost 2 fumbles. Yes, in the end, he had no interceptions. He had 3 touchdowns and 400 and something yards, but there's more to it than that. I'm not saying other people weren't part of the blame for the loss, but Aaron Rodgers is not without his own blame, and that is the problem this week. Anyone who brings up that Aaron Rodgers is probably part of the problem is immediately chastised for it. So you, Packer fans, hold the hottest take this week. Aaron Rodgers is human. He does make mistakes. He often plays poorly right out of the gate. And he's allowed to be criticized for it. Alright guys, short video this week. It is late. My webcam is dying, and I am probably just a slideshow at this point. Haha, I was a slideshow. So anyway, the Packers are the 9.5 point favorites going against San Francisco. If the Packers play well as they're supposed to and stomp the Niners, I fear that we will not be talking about the offensive woes anymore. However, if the Niners manage to win, it is going to be hashtag tank the season. And I'm here for that. I don't want it to happen, but it'll give me a lot to talk about. Well guys, that'll do it for me. As always, I'm Matt, but you can call me Matub. Go Pack. Go. And don't wake my wife.